I do have one. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored to be here present today as a moderator of this event, the 2017 Seed Grant recipient ceremony. I also wanted to thank the Yaroslava Johnson personally and Anton Vashuk for the invitation to this event, and also for making it possible for me to obtain my MBA in the US. So I will briefly talk about it today as well. And I truly believe that this program, the Seed Grant, is really a very important program for today's Ukraine, for the new Ukraine, and it will be like the more people are coming back, the more important it will become. I think I'm really very happy to be the first product of this program, along with Roman Cherepacha. I see him here also present, and with Daria Minina. I think Dmitry Khomchuk should also arrive at some point. So it's really an honor to be a part of the Seed Grant family. So let's start the ceremony, and I would like to invite Yaroslava Johnson to open the ceremony.
Thank you, Johan. Good afternoon, everybody. Ambassador Yovanovich and honored guests. You know, Western and U.S. Enterprise Fund has been working in Ukraine for over 22 years. Initially, we worked as an investment. We invested $150 million we received from the American government into 118 small and medium businesses. Then, a few years later, we started to provide technical assistance. And throughout our 2 phases of work in Ukraine, we always featured education as a very important element. When we had portfolio companies, we provided them with training in business practices, in accounting, in corporate governance. We thought that was important to raise the level of the managers of those companies. Now that we're in the technical assistance phase, we provide training to participants in our 4 programs in impact investment, export promotion, local economic development, and economic leadership, of which Seed Grant is one of the programs. To fulfill this mission, with the approval of the USAID, we have started the program of scholarships 2 years ago in 2015. And the scholarships are 2-year scholarships to the students admitted to the best MBA schools in the United States, and 1-year scholarships for MPA studies and LLM studies. In 2015, we gave out 5 scholarships. You see the graduates of those programs today. In 2016, we gave 13 scholarships, and this year we're giving out 16 scholarships. We had 50 applicants for these slots, and we were able to pick the best and the brightest in Ukraine. To date, our total financial obligation for the Seed Grant program is $3,048,000. Our scholarship recipients are, again, the best and brightest in Ukraine and Moldova, and they've committed to a rigorous course of study and agreed to return and work in Ukraine and Moldova for 3 years upon graduation. In some cases, this requirement of return has been a limiting factor. Several people applied and said they didn't want to come back, so they didn't get the scholarship. But we believe that Ukraine and Moldova will benefit from well-trained professional talent ready to lead the country into the future. And we think that our Seed Grant scholars, whether they work in the private or public sector, will not only increase the potential, the pool of skilled professionals, but will also be the much-needed change agents that will carry these countries into prosperity in the coming years. So I really wish all of our Seed Grant recipients great success in the next 2 academic years, and I look forward to seeing them back upon graduation and wherever their careers ultimately take them. Before we introduce our Seed Grant recipients, I'd like to invite Ambassador Yovanovich to speak and to all of us. Ambassador.
Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for having me here today. It is really an opportunity for me to be able to meet you all individually and to congratulate the 2017 Seed Grant recipients as they prepare to depart for the United States for advanced studies. You've probably all heard the saying. It's a little bit of a trite expression, but it's true. And so I'm gonna repeat it: that a country's most precious resource is its people, and that is true. And when I look out at all of you, I know it to be true, and I know it's going to be even more true after you come back and do your part to build the new Ukraine. Today in Ukraine, young people, and not just young people, but many young people are leading the transformation to a strong, democratic, European-leaning country. They are demanding reforms, spearheading innovation, and moving the country forward. Young Ukrainians are talented, they are ambitious, they are energetic. But many don't have access to the educational opportunities that would allow them to fulfill their true potential. And the Seed Grant Initiative is one mechanism that offers that opportunity. It opens the door for talented Ukrainians to attend some of the best universities in the United States. It gives them an opportunity to be the best that they can be. These young people, all of you in front of me, will return to Ukraine and become, again, the innovators, the entrepreneurs, and the legal minds that will build the economy and strengthen the legal system. Ukraine's public and private sector need educated and highly trained individuals who are success-oriented and will help the country and its people to prosper. While this program is in its second year, already Seed Grant recipients are receiving recognition for their work. So we've already met Yevhen Stashenko, our moderator for today, and I'm going to embarrass him a little bit because I had the good fortune of meeting him just a few minutes ago. He's a 2015 Seed Grant winner. He received his Master in Business Administration from Duke University this past May, and he is this week, I guess, or last week?
Last week.
Last week, okay, so lots of experience. Last week, he started as the deputy head of strategy with Ukraine's largest gas producer, Ukrgaz Vidobivania. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And I got to tell you that I was out in Poltava a while ago looking at some of the fields. It was one of the best days. You know, in my business, we have a little expression that a bad day in the field is better than a good day in the office, and that's that's the way I feel. And in fact, it was one of those crazy days in April when all of a sudden it started snowing, and there we were out there with the gas rigs and everything else. It was great. It was so much fun. So I think that not only are you going to make a contribution in a critical sector like energy, which I think is going to be really important for Ukraine's future. But I think you can also have some good days. So go out a lot to Poltava. So I commend you and congratulate you on an achievement. And when I look out at all of you who are embarking on what a great adventure. To go to the United States, have an opportunity to study at a top university, meet new people, challenge yourselves, and come back here and challenge Ukraine to be the best that it can be. I mean, that is how the future of this country is going to be built. And so I want to just congratulate all of you again on this opportunity. We look forward to hearing great things from you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Ivanovich. So you all heard. Thank you very much for the words of support and high expectations, no pressure. At this stage, I would like to ask Ambassador Ivanovich and Yaroslava Johnson to start the official ceremony. Please.
Well, we're going to hand out the certificates, and I'll read your name, identify the school you're going to go to, and I'd appreciate if you'd come up and receive the certificate from Ambassador Ivanovich. Irina Barvi, University of North Carolina, Ken Flagler Business School.
Sorry, I don't know what the setup is. Is somebody taking a picture? No. Okay. Okay. Come on, another picture. Thank you. Congratulations.
Hanna Bobik, Dartmouth College Tuck School of Business. Olga Ionel, Carnegie Mellon Tepper School of Business. Andrei Kamenetsky, UCLA Anderson School of Management. Victoria Koshelyeva, Carnegie Mellon Tepper School of Business. Konstantin Lukyanets, Yale School of Management. Yes. Congratulations. Victor Petrus, Cornell Johnson Graduate School of Management. Roman Shuler-Balko, Duke University Fuqua School of Business.
Go Duke!
Maria Scufati, Northwestern University Kellogg School of Management. Victoria Barbanyuk, Columbia School of International and Public Affairs. Evelina Ibrahimova, University of Chicago Harris School of Public Policy. Marta Basistiuk, University of Pennsylvania Law School. Tatiana Valeyeva, Cornell Law School. Now, those are the 13 certificates we handed to people who are here, but we had 3 more recipients who are currently in the United States. There's Yaroslav Birka, who's at the University of Chicago Booth School of Business for an MBA. Artyom Baroyan, who's at Emory Gozueta Business School, also for an MBA. And Valentin Zadorin at the University of California, Berkeley Hess School of Business, also for an MBA. So we actually have 16 recipients this year, and we're proud that they're joining our Seed Grant Scholars.
Well, thank you very much, again, Ambassador Ivanovich and Yaroslava Johnson. So let's congratulate once more all the recipients and wish them luck during their tenure as MBA, LLM, and MPA students in the U.S. So please, yeah. And now I have a pleasure to invite to the stage Liana Kuzharny, the head of the Horizon Capital Advisors, to speak about her experience as an MBA and to speak to all the recipients of the SID grant this year.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think that anytime we might get a little bit down about any business challenges we have or anything, what we should always do is show up for a Western and U.S. event, look at these smiling faces, look at the new generation that really is leading the change in this country, and that's the best antidote to anything going on in your day. So thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to all of you. I want to acknowledge Yaroslava Johnson, CEO of Western and U.S. Enterprise Fund, for her vision in terms of really shepherding this program and many other programs that are benefiting Ukraine. Susan Fritz, of course, the head of USAID, who also is a passionate believer in what Western and U.S. is doing and has backed the fund all the way. And of course, Ambassador Yovanovitch, thank you so much. I know how much you care about education, about the new generation, and about reforms in Ukraine. And truly, these are the people who are going to be in the trenches and in the companies and in the state-owned enterprises making that change. So thank you very much. So my words to you are enjoy every minute, enjoy the experience. Thank you for making that commitment to come back. I think that's extremely important. For me, this is extremely personal because if I look at Horizon Capital, I don't believe that Horizon Capital would have the achievements it has and be here today without the U.S. MBAs who came from the region, went abroad, came back, and really are driving the achievements in this firm. So when I look back, and I wanted to share a personal story, I look back to 2007 when the founding partners of Horizon thought to themselves, it's time to make that transition from predominantly expats from the West to a company that's led by Ukrainians. And what we did, we actually started an internship program. We looked at taking interns into Horizon Capital from the best U.S. MBA schools. We had 22 interns. It was a very extensive program that we ran. And from those interns, we picked the best 3. And those are the 3 deal partners at Horizon Capital: Denise Tafantsev, Kostya Mogiletsky, and Vasily Tofan. So I see the impact that these people made at Horizon. And I know that all of you are going to make that same kind of impact in every single company that you're part of in the future. I'm really proud that Dmitro Borodai, who did his MBA at Harvard and came back, he had a great career at McKinsey Dubai. He left that to return March 2016 before the seed grant, but March 2016 to rejoin Horizon. But I'm really proud that Roman Cherepacha, who is part of the first seed grant recipients, Roman has accepted our offer and is joining Horizon Capital this month. So Roman, stand up. I'm very happy. And I'm also very happy to see so many members of the business community here today, because I also think while we ask each of the seed grant recipients to come back for 3 years, I also think that it's very important for them to have jobs to come back to. And that's a real call to action also to the business community, to the organizations in Ukraine, that these individuals, they want to come back, they want to be here and making change here. And the more that we can get the word out, the more that we're ready to take a look at the resumes, to look at these people when they're coming back. I see Shevki here from EBRD. I see Flora Schuring from KPMG. I see Luke from Kia Post. I see Vladimir Lavranchuk from Raiffeisen Naval and many others. Bogdan Kupich from KM Core and many other, Mikhail Shalemba, Data Group CEO. And I see many others who I do want you to put in your minds and also to spread the word amongst your network that next year we will have 22 talented people returning to this region. Well, 16, right? But 16 in 2 years. But 13 next year, sorry. 13 individuals returning next year, 16 in 2 years. And let's all work together to make sure that people have jobs to come back to and opportunities to change this country. So good luck to you. We look forward to keeping in touch and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lena. So many good words for you guys today. A lot of expectations, and but this is only the first stage. This made many of you guys dream possible. The money to study in the U.S., the money to be able to come back and develop the country. So now it's your time to use it twice and prove that you were worth it. And yeah, so I wanted to say, just as we have a few minutes before the panel discussion, which is going to be awesome, we have awesome speakers today, share with you my story. And 2 years ago, when I left for my MBA, frankly, I knew I was going to come back, but my future in Ukraine was really uncertain. I didn't know where I was going to come back and which company. And really, like, there was a lot of uncertainty because I knew that most of the Ukrainian companies are not ready, were not ready at that stage, at least for MBAs, didn't appreciate it, didn't know its real value, and but still I took that risk, and now I'm really happy I did it. As it was said, I joined the Ukrainian House with the Bavani. I'm happy to be on this edge of the change of the country. But yeah, so when I got the offer from UGV, like back in the April, I was super happy. I knew I was going to take it, but I also wanted to be like 100% fair with myself, not like 99 or 98. So I didn't recruit the whole year in the U.S. at all. But I'm telling this story for you to manage your expectations and understand that it's really, for me at least, it was harder to find a job in Ukraine than to find like a job in the US. So I spent like, I don't know, 8 months to find a job in Ukraine, the one which I wanted. But at that stage, when I already got an offer from UGV, I also wanted to see like if I really want to come back to Ukraine, to be 100% sure. So I recruited for only one company in Ukraine, which was in US, which was on the top of my like possible list of employers. And 1 month after I got the offer, and then I sat down and I saw, okay, this is the best possible offer for me, like I could get in the US, and here is the offer from the company I wanted to work for in Ukraine. And without any hesitation, it was like clear for me like that this is what I want to do. But this is, I know it can be different for everyone, anyone, but I just wanted, this story is first to motivate you that you're awesome, guys. You're gonna crush it this 2 years. You'll be really good in your classes. Maybe it's going to be hard at the beginning. You have a lot of falls and downs, ups and downs, but overall you will learn how to do it. If you want, you can get any job you want in the US. But ask yourself if that's what you really want when your country needs you here, when there is so many opportunities here in Ukraine, and you can be like real superstars here in your country and drive change. So this is the question you have to answer yourself, and you have 2 years. But for now, I wanted to start the panel discussion, and I wanted to invite our great speakers. But before like I invite them, I wanted to say like a few words what the panel is going to be about. So I wanted to structure it in a way that will be the most helpful for you, because a lot of you guys also may be asking questions. I asked myself a few years ago, where am I gonna work when I come back? Other companies which need MBAs in Ukraine, other companies which value MBAs. So I wanted to like at least stream the discussion in that direction to understand is there really a need in MBA, and there are some speakers who speakers from completely different spheres to understand like, do they need the MBAs in their particular function, particular industries, and some of them have MBAs themselves, so you will be able maybe in the end ask the questions you want. So let me start the panel discussion from with the invitation of the speakers. So the first one is Volodymyr Lavrenchuk, the chairman of the board of the Raiffeisen Bank of Val, and many times recognized as the best banker in Ukraine. So please welcome. You can have a seat.
Now we'll wait for another.
Okay. And then,
This is a risk.
okay. Second one is Dmytro Kripak, the country manager of Ukraine, Georgia, and Armenia for Visa. Dmytro also holds an MBA degree from Wharton, so have some knowledge about the MBA recruitment maybe in Ukraine. And also Andriy Logvin, the co-founder and CEO of Modna Kasta. This is For those of you who still don't know, I think there are none, the online shopping club, Modnikasta. And the last speaker is, but not the least, Sofia Vishnevska, the marketing director for Duna. Well, Duna produces like socks, but doing it really awesome and real awesome socks. And recently, Duna started to export their products abroad. So those are our speakers. So please take a seat. I'll probably take a seat myself here. So I wanted maybe to start with though, again, just to emphasize two questions. First of all, do Ukrainian companies need MBA talent, and do the companies really ready to pay the MBA graduates market salaries, well, the premium for MBA? That's like the overall topic. But let's start with maybe Dmitro. Dmitro, you're the Wharton MBA holder in 2000. Sorry?
It's on? Okay, good.
Okay, in 2001. However, after graduation from Wharton, you spent a few years in U.S. Yourself, you worked, if I'm not mistaken, for Duke Energy in Charlotte, North Carolina, awesome city I've been to. And only in 2006 you came back well, to work as a top manager in Ukraine. Do you think it makes sense for MBAs to come back to Ukraine straight out of MBA, and can they realize their potential fully in Ukraine?
Well, I think it depends on personal situation of each specific person. In my situation, my goal of going to the United States and getting my MBA was to get exposure to something outside of the former Soviet Union. I grew up in the former Soviet Union. That's what I saw. That's what I knew. So I wanted to expand my horizons. So I wanted to learn, and my objective was to work in the U.S. for a while. Second, financial situation. I borrowed money. Wharton gave loans to everyone, guaranteed loans to everyone, irrespective of the country of origin, citizenship, or anything else. I didn't have any sponsors or co-financing, or my parents didn't give me money, so I had to pay money back. And I preferred salary in U.S. dollars, at least for a couple of years, so that I could, give my money back, give my loan back to the bank. So, depending on the person's situation. And why I came back to Ukraine, because the career progress in the United States, it takes time. So I had one of my performance reviews with my supervisor, and I said, okay, when is my next step, career step? And he honestly told me, he said, well, you have to rotate about 15 years, the same level, because you're already the youngest, possible band 6, whatever, employee. So I said, maybe I should go back to Ukraine. And it was not a mistake. It was right after the first revolution. So I saw the country really changing, and second, really fast career progress, really fast.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is something I really wanted to expected at least to hear from you. So first, really the change of the political direction of the country right now. There are all of the opportunities you can have right now. There were not so many opportunities back then, I guess, like in Ukraine, in moving into the Europe and going to the new markets, like having a Western education maybe was not such a big advantage. And also the money, like now this problem with seed grant is resolved. So I mean, this is just to understand how people, even with like staying for 5 years, they still came back. There aren't so many people like Metro, and they came back. And I guess some of them would even come back if they didn't have those restrictions. And so this is really, is it so? Do you understand it correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much. So Volodymyr, as the head of the largest Ukrainian bank with foreign capital, you probably know that U.S. banks are one like group of the largest consumers of MBA talent in the U.S. So like Citibank and others in there, they hire a lot of MBAs. Unfortunately, like Ukrainian banks, not so much. Do you think that there is a correlation between this number of MBA talent at the bank and maybe financial performance, because we know that, thanks God, not Raiffeisen, but a lot of Ukrainian banks were doing poorly, and over the last overall many years, and maybe this is somehow connected with that they don't have that many MBAs at the banks.
I'm thinking, thank you for questions. There was a longer list of questions I received a few days ago, and I was thinking what is the best way to deliver the message, as I guess you expect me, not a head of HR, to respond how many MBAs we have, and what was the migration of MBAs, how many stay with us, and what. I think the question regarding the market, and you partly said there is a differentiation between the banks, local, not local, international. I'd like to comment this, and next to comment how we approach the MBA owners or students, graduates, and how I personally look at this. And probably will be a short story, but it will take some 5-7 minutes, if it's okay with you. Is it? Or shortly, I have an answer, everything works?
We have a lot of time.
Good. I would start with a comment, a bit disagreement that there is segmentation of banks in Ukraine by nature, by capital, even by corporate culture, others. But in terms of management or top management, I don't say that's a very obvious difference. So all banks care about the knowledge, skills, competence, and they look for talents, all. Local, not local. Citibank is there any Citibank representative? No? There's up to 100% FTEs at all. And another bank, I don't know, savings bank is probably 25,000 FTEs at all. So their outlook on the HR market is different. Expectations are different. Both need MBA. But I don't differentiate very much that their policy is different. They have the same policy to attract talents, well-educated, well-skilled, structured, having goodwill and appetite. Appetite is important. And that's the first comment. True, this is what I see, and I like this competition, and I appreciate very much even state-owned banks. And state-owned banks means savings, Exim, now Privat. They are subject of transition and reforms. So number of international experts, number means not few. There's hundreds work on reforms to transfer these banks and to sell it in 3-5 years in the national market, probably to Citibank, I don't know, or Raiffeisen. Question, who wants to participate in this game? I would expect number of clever guys with MBA want to be part of this excellent story. Even me. But I don't have MBA. This is a difference. But coming back to the topic, where is the best place to contribute pragmatically, rationally, not only based on commitment to do something special, but to contribute managerially, I would say I would not differentiate local, not local, international, even with a salary-wise issue. There's not a big difference now in terms of compensation. So this is my comment. I work for international bank with a very good will and very good culture. So by nature, I should protect a group of international banks, but that's not the case. So this is my first comment. Second comment is MBA is a diploma, right? So we don't recruit a diploma. We recruit knowledge, skills, and willingness to contribute. And we have number of remuneration leverage instruments to pay for this market price. And this price for those who have skills and knowledge of MBA, plus this goodwill to make things happen, that's a high level of remuneration. Those who dream about, not those, because I don't know what is, I always, in Ukraine, so all my life I have practiced in banking in Ukraine. I can't compare what is the feeling of a person that works for Vienna office in Raiffeisen. But many of my colleagues, younger one, they spend a year, 2 or 3, and when I see them, it's obviously this different pace of life. Quality of life is obviously different. The quality of water in kran, in the flat is different. But pace of life is different. So what is done during the week in Ukraine that can't be done during the year in Austria, in banking. Number of changes, reforms, news, which should be managed by management. So those who like a spirit of creativity, making changes, and getting money, that's, I would say, should learn fast and come back fast rationally. Not emotionally because they take commitment to Ukraine. I believe everybody has a commitment to Ukraine. This is not a subject of doubts. But I think the subject of doubts, what is rational, as my friend and colleague for many, many years, Dima, very fairly shared. There is always challenge what is more rational to stay in a country of Austria or U.S. or other countries rationally. And I say my personal story rationally was much more beneficial in Ukraine compared with those colleagues who decided to stay abroad. Because there is no career opportunity compared to Ukraine. During the last 20 years, I'm 20 years in managerial positions, but now even more. Because there are new requirements to management. That's not only about English as a language of communication speaking, but mentality, pace of making decisions, everything. We have to call corporate culture and corporate governance and skills how to cooperate and make decisions together. So those who want to make career should not be invited back. When I read this document that in some period of time there is a commitment to come back and to, I think this should not be written. It rationally comes here and here. So this is my main message. So the pace of actions, activities, and opportunities to be used are very obviously different, and here in Ukraine is extremely historically on the top. A number of positions which are not occupied in each of organization on the top managerial level, historically record. The same with the governmental areas or state-owned banks I mentioned, which requires high level of knowledge, and this is a big opportunity. And the last, my comment regarding, if I may quote you what you did say, sure. Thank you. That there could be conditions for something, and somewhere in Ukraine there are not enough conditions to realize this or that. What I believe that, I don't know how other countries, but Ukraine is a place where conditions can be created. If someone wants to do something very materially important, and personal leadership for this individual is clear, and there are no conditions, do it. Simply knock the door of I don't know, prime minister, or there are a number of these tank forces, or how we call them, working groups that change the country here, and all doors are open. Someone could create a new working group and to say, I need this regulation, I need such kind of support. There are a number of U.S. IFIs that look for such initiative groups to give a leverage, including financial one. I don't know other countries with such number of expectations. So I personally, believe me, I knocked many of doors. Even now I'm here for some purposes to go ahead with this or that project. So thank you for listening to these three areas. If there will be more topics, I will comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Building on the knowledge thing and like not just holding a diploma, but having the knowledge, right, and then bringing it to the country. I wanted to address Andriy. We all know that e-commerce right now in the world is just like destroying the regular outlets, the Walmarts, Macy's of the world are closing hundreds of their stores every year. And e-commerce is growing in Ukraine, but it still has a huge potential for growth. And when during your MBA, you can do the internship at all those like best practices firms like Amazon over the summer and learn a lot in the class about the new trends. Do you think such an experience would be valuable for people like and applicable in Ukraine after coming back? And what would be your recommendation, like given your professional experience in the e-commerce to spend time in which direction over the 2 years of MBA, for example, and the internship in the US?
Yeah, my short answer is yes, and for sure any experience and any learnings are very useful. But I will just want to say two things about the negative sides of the MBA, because everybody here is super excited about all this stuff. And me personally, as a MBA graduate, I had a very high expectations on a lot of things. But I think MBA has two big things which we need to care about during this two-year period studying. The first is, my personal observation is, the more you know, the more knowledge you have in your head, the bigger limits you have in your head. Because, dumb people, they just start the business and don't care about it. These clever people, they have a lot of limits, and they see the threats everywhere, and you just do nothing because of because you're scared about it. And that's the big problem, because we have a lot of clever people in Ukraine who is very afraid of to start their own business here. But we badly need the local businessmen. And the second thing that I've noticed from these guys is that when you study and when you learn in U.S. and in developed countries, you are getting used to live in the fair ecosystem. But the world is unfair. And we see it now in Ukraine, and you are starting to think that everything will be, you are looking at the world in a rose sunglasses, and you are not ready to fight. But business is about the courage, and the more I take people to my company, we're around 1,000 guys today, and the more I look for the character, more I look for the character and less for the talents, because the character is the willingness to achieve, character is willingness to fight, and character is willingness to continuous learning. Because MBA could give you a idea in your head that after MBA you are a super great guy, and this is all you have in the world. But the environment is changing so fast. Everything is changing so fast, especially I'm living in IT and e-commerce, that we do not, one of our values is continuous developing, because all your knowledge we will suck in a couple months, and if you are not growing, you will be out of my company. So this is it. So I think the answer to your question, should I study in Amazon? Yeah, you should. Yeah, and should I try these big companies? For sure, it is very important. But my message to you guys, not to stop on that and not to think that this is the peak of the mountain. I think it's just it is a very good beginning, but it's just the beginning.
Yeah, I cannot agree more with you. I just wanted to add to this, and maybe you can respond, that when you invest so much time and money, sometimes when you do MBA on your own, and even people with receiving the money from SID grant, they still put in a lot of money on their own in the program. Coming back to Ukraine, I talked to a lot of entrepreneurs and tech companies, say, here in Ukraine, and they were saying, yeah, come back, we'll see what material you're made of. I don't know you personally, I've heard good recommendations, but I didn't work with you. Come join me as I don't know, sometimes they said analyst, whatever, and then prove me that you're good, prove me that you're good. And then I said, then what? Are you giving me stock or something based on my performance, restricted stock units, say, tied to some KPIs, I don't know, which I'm gonna achieve. They say, no, just come back, you have a lot of I don't know, opportunity cost, like good job somewhere else, good, well paid, but like sacrifice this, take a risk, join the company, and then we'll see what happens. And this sounds to me like that people like don't really appreciate the knowledge. They say, yeah, good resume, but it doesn't tell me anything. So with such an approach, I think in the Silicon Valley, in the US, startups hiring like a lot of MBAs. But yeah, if they cannot pay for it, they pay with money, cash, they pay somehow like the restricted stock units, options, whatever. But like Ukrainians, do you think like Ukrainian businessmen are ready to do this, small businesses? I mean, and like really the question is appreciating the knowledge as well. But I mean the character, yeah, I do understand. But like the knowledge and the experience they can bring.
Look, I will talk from the honestly, brutally honest, from the businessman point of view. Look, we are living in the jungles. Yeah. Last week I had a SBU in my office. We are after the second revolution. We are ahead on the top of the waves. We know everybody. Ambassadors, presidents are everywhere. Prime ministers. But every minute of your doing something here in Ukraine, you should be ready for the guys in the black masks, and who is thinking totally, dramatically different from you. So being here in the jungle, we have a little bit lack of trust. That's true. So when you say it doesn't mean for us the idea is super simple. Idea in IT especially, by the way, in IT and e-commerce, idea costs zero because execution is everything here. And when you start to say that you've got MBAs or other level, which is great, and we are lack of that, it's still to be proved with the exact results. And what I said from my personal experience, the more diplomas and levels and graduates you have, the more limits you have. And when we are here as a businessman, we are given the task, which is very often to fulfill, and you will, make me 100 professional arguments why you cannot do that, because you know a lot. But we need to do something to jump out of this country and to build the local and global champions, not caring on all these limitations and things. So answering your question, there is a bit lack of trust in the local businessman. That's true, but it's not just because we're so stupid. It's just because we're living in a real world and we are talking to real guys. We're living in a war. We have war in Donetsk. We have war here in business, and the only rule is the rule of not rule of law, but rule of strong guy, and that's the rule, and that's the a little bit different thing. So, I think you should manage your expectation, and I think you should go to the business and try to build your business by yourself. The level of your education will be 10 times higher than the guys who are starting business here. So do your business, feel the difference, and your expectation will be at the same level as the guys who is taking you on the job.
Yeah, thank you, Vladimir.
One point that I'm not agreeing with, that MBA prevents you from being in private business. I think it all depends on your personal risk profile. If you look at me, I have 4 kids. I can take the jungle risks, risk my life or whatever. So yeah, MBA gave me this safety net of working in corporate world, being successful in corporate world. However, a good friend of mine who is not married, he lives in Los Angeles. He enjoys, life. He quit after first year of working MBA. He said, "Okay, I learned enough, so I want to do my own business. So he did his own business near Lviv. It didn't work, so he lost a little bit of money. Now he works for a corporate world like I do. So that gave him a safety net. So, and he's dreaming about going back to Ukraine. See, he's American, but he doesn't like it there. I mean, he likes the jazz music in bars, you know, but the baked potato and stuff, but he wants to come back to Ukraine. And his argument is that in a few years, Ukraine will become boring like Poland. You know, like nothing is really happening. All the really cool places are taken, and there's not really much excitement going on. So he understands that he needs to spend about a year in the U.S. and then quickly come back to, you know, still have a place here.
Yeah. High risk, high reward, right? Financial people know.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to comment. I would say Ukrainian business environment is not only jungle. There are a big portion of business which you could, if you visit American Chamber of Commerce or European Business Association, you will see hundreds of companies which probably will tell a bit different comments regarding the market conditions and the organization structure and the corporate culture of making decisions and growth, career opportunity and others. So I don't say it's right or wrong, but means market is segmented. Issue number one, what I would agree that implementation is everything in both areas. In those who are more structured and in those who are more risk takers, everywhere implementation is the issue. So we recruit people to act, not only to advise. And actions are based on how to assess how implementation or actions could be effective, could be done only on experience. It can't be done by CV, where the written of languages and Microsoft and many others, but that's about implementation in concrete environment with the concrete masks and whatever. And this is the issue. What is my third comment in this? I think what we are talking now is not to threaten you, just to invite you, and this is my timing is everything, and timing, what I could look now is so fast moving us to make actions. So what is possible here is very fast. It gives us expectations of fast actions. There will be time, like in Vienna now, when I come, they have a project office with 9 months of pre-study, 12 months of study, next 18 months of study. And this works in this country, right? But we're in a transition, and we have this spirit of making actions. I understand very much what Andrei is saying. The difference is that I work in different structure, which has different rules in-house, but market assessment as such. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wanted to give a word to Sophia, yes, and to comment maybe, like it will be very related to what Andrei answered. You came back as well from MBA with Vienna Webster, right? So, and you now leading the marketing function at Duna, so which is also like, I would say, not maybe a startup, but like growing company, fast growing and changing the direction, like go into the new markets. So in your case, you were able to like cash in your MBA and like find, I don't know about cash in, but like find a good fit and use your knowledge you got maybe as well at work, right? So how did it work for you? And just tell about your experience.
So first of all, I'll tell about my experience. And after coming back from Vienna, I was a little bit in a shock, like for the first half of year, of course, because I used to live there and so on. And I went to IT company to work for, but in marketing department. So, but it wasn't really challenging for me there. It was SoftServe. It's the biggest outsourcing company in Ukraine. And then I was like searching for something more. And then I went to Duna. There was like no marketing department as it is at all. And I understood that I need to build it, to make it big. Even though there are like 1,200 people in the company, it's really jungle. In our like segment, it's far, far away from all of, I think, almost other spheres, and it's far, far away from like what I was taught in MBA in Vienna. And I think the main thing is here in Ukraine, the application of your knowledge to real life. And when you are like taught lots of great cases, you go to companies and even work there for 2-3 months, to great companies with great system, great processes, and you come back here for like a big, for example, production company, and there are no processes, no system, nothing, and you need just to build it. And you think, okay, how can I do it? Like, what to start with? But you just need to do. Like, you don't need to, you, of course, at first to think properly, and you have to hire good people. Like, not, here I agree with Andrei that MBA, okay, it's great. I also like did a good networking and so on, and there were people from Kyiv who were studying with me. But those people, they don't want like real challenge. They have no passion to work day and night and work, and maybe at the end you can't have like anything, you know, because it's like it's Ukraine and it's real business. But some of them they really want to. We have also people from university, like from the 4th grade. It was quite hard. I'll give the example. We started our like online shop because the product, socks, ties, and so on, it's really like e-commerce product. And we didn't have money like to have any company like to do it for us. So I did it with my friend who has like no education at all, but who is really great in it. And then we hired a girl from the 3rd grade from the university from Lviv, and we began learning social media. We took lots of like different online free courses, and it was like now it is quite effective. So she's young, she has no like limits, and she learns really fast. Like she wants to learn, she has a passion for it, and I think this is like the biggest thing you can have. Also, to come back from Europe, from States, where the life is really good, like where you can have like stable work, stable salary, and everything is very stable. But this is not for me, for example, in my case, even though I could like go and live there. So I think that the main thing when you go to have the MBA, you have to ask yourself what you want it for. Like, do you want to do it for your networking? Do you want, like, what do you want to learn? What do you want to gain? And what do you want to do it afterwards? Like, because you're just the same person, you're not a star, you don't have really lots of, like experience, practical experience. You know, like how companies do this and that, how do they fail in this and that situation and so on. But you don't know lots of things that were at that time and at that particular country. Like, you know, just some pieces. I think more and more important is to overlive this experience and to have indeed like that feelings as well. So yeah, that's basically what I think about it. But it's great, like, I mean, it's great that people from Ukraine and you guys have such an opportunity to go and you broaden your, like, your knowledge. You know what is there, how companies, like, first of all, you know how the companies, great companies should be built and how they should look like. Because I think our parents and people who don't have such opportunity, they even don't know how to do it. They did it like, blindly. And they did lots of mistakes. So, and we have the opportunity to know how maybe to omit those mistakes, and it's great.
Thank you. Yeah, talking about the knowledge, yesterday I had a really unique opportunity to attend the Ukrainian Corporate Governance Academy event, and there was Lena Kazharna speaking as one of the panelists. She said one thing which I've heard before, but it was like very. When I was thinking what I will, how I will drive the discussion, I found it very interesting. She said talking about the corporate governance, basically in the boards of directors in the company, she said the culture beats strategy. Eats, something like that, exactly. For breakfast, yeah, not beats, yeah, you're right. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. So that's something I wanted to like address, and maybe Dmitro can talk about it. From my experience, I felt that 2 years were really like changed my like mindset. I started to look at things differently. I changed like mentally and physically. I'm still, I maybe grew older a little bit, but I mean, really, it's just life-changing experience, and like broadens your horizons. Like you see different cultures, people, like how they do, and all of them are like were best in their companies before, how they do business. So from your perspective, like how was it in your case, and do you think like MBA was a boost for your career, like long term in the specifically like in a corporate career?
So I think you asked two questions in one sentence.
Yes.
So the first question was about culture, and does MBA give you a chance to understand corporate culture, like Western, more ethical corporate culture better? I think it does. I think you learn from professors, but also from your peers. You see different cultures. You see Anglo-Saxon, how people build arguments, how they think, what ethics means to them. You see people from Asia, you see people from Africa, you see this difference pretty much. I think work at a company in the U.S. changed my perception much more. I think during MBA you learn via case studies. So you learn that, for example, pharmaceutical company in 1970 something lost $100 million because they didn't give some drug in Africa, and they were so greedy, and that's why they lost, so they should be more corporately responsible. So you learn all this via case studies, but when you work for a real company, you see real culture, how people make decisions. When you have a mentor who teaches you what to do, what not to do, I think it's much, much more effective. So working for a company that has that kind of culture is I think very critical. In terms of career progress, of course, I mean, that's why I came back to Ukraine. So it helps a lot. I mean, some of those principles, they're universal. It doesn't matter if it's I here completely agree with Vladimir that it doesn't matter if it's a U.S. bank, local bank. There's certain human principles which are the same. How to manage people, how to interact with people, what choices to make. Is there tomorrow, or I want everything today. So I think during MBA you learn these things, and I think it changes you a little bit. Yes.
Thank you very much. Maybe, overall, from like the perspective of your career and like you're successful in what you do, what do you think where there are the most gaps in Ukraine, and in terms of knowledge, in terms of maybe skills, in terms of experience that people over the 2 years, there are many opportunities you can do, like practicums, you can help companies, you can learn, you can study, take classes. What should people spend their time on, and to be like demanded in Ukraine to find the good jobs and to fill those gaps? Anyone?
I just, reminded myself a nice joke that we had in IT about the education, and the guys are saying that yes, the guys who graduated from Harvard, they are founding billion-dollar companies, but only the guys who dropped Harvard on the first year of studying are founding $100 billion companies. And that's really true, because Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, and Bill Gates, all these stories. And so what we lack here in Ukraine, and I think we have a lot of opportunities. We are a huge country. We are super developed, educated, and I think we should act more aggressive on a global side. And I just checked that South Korea has the bigger GDP than Russia. And South Korea is very, very similar by nature to our country. So I think we are lack of managerial skills and we are lack of education. But my personal guess is that we are lack of courage to dream big and to act big and to take risk and to take responsibility. Because, living today, sky is the limit. Listening to this crazy guy, Elon Musk, after all his conference, I'm asking myself every time, what am I doing in this office? I mean, this guy, he's from South Africa, and he's, changing the humanity, how we think, how we live. After that, my personal goals, seems to me like, the kindergarten dreams. And
he's a Wharton graduate, by the way.
He should have dropped out during the first year. He would achieve more.
Yeah.
Maybe now we would have been at Mars if he would drop.
So my answer is courage.
Yeah, and I also would like to add that we have this in mentality, we always seek for excuses. And this is what I've see sometimes in people that we are hiring, that I can't do this because the company is like this, we have no system, we have no money, we have so on and so forth. And I think we should think more about what can we do to build it ourselves. And and to have less limits, because at schools we were taught to have them, to have that almost everybody is the same, we couldn't feel the responsibility. So here I also totally agree with Andrei that we have no limits and we can go on.
Thank you.
On my side, there are 3 areas which I would recommend to pay attention on. And the first one is modeling analysts. Majority of decisions done in this country or in many of companies which we serve based on primitive calculations, quite often based on gut feeling or by historical precedents, which everything is good, but it should not dominate in making decisions. So modeling and analysis in a big deficit, and we have few names, but few names, not few thousands of names, few names. There's very big dependence of them, and that's not enough for all kind of business, including governmental tasks to manage the country. Issue number 2, which close to risk assessment, but mostly it's to take a risk. Risk, I don't know, is such a discipline of risk taking, but it's something without business can't survive. And that's much closer to leadership than to the management skills. But risk taking is something which we obviously don't see in business, many, but I can't say it's a mental issue. It's not mental issue. The Ukrainians, millions of Ukrainians take a risk of revolution and the war, supporting army, supporting a revolution, taking personal risk. So risk is not the issue. Issue is a managerial risk to make decision for yourself and people around. And that's not very obvious that we have such managerial skills on mass scale in Ukraine. And number 3 is the weakest area is the communications policy, culture, daily activities, and destroying each other, making dotty stories about competitors or central bank or others. That's destroying the confidence in the market finally. And we accept this, and we quite often see in many cases this primitive or destroying culture which is not substituted by good companies' communication culture. So we have number of associations, I mentioned 2, there are many, formal and informal, where there are such areas of good communications and good respect to each other based on communication policies that each company complies with. But that's what is not very obvious on mass scale. Thank you.
Thank you very much for a very specific answer. And now I would like to address the audience maybe. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay, it's okay. I think I wanted to follow up on what Vladimir has said about the culture and communication style. I think it's very important because we're part of certain culture, Slavic culture, right? And we have to negotiate with Americans, Germans, French, Italians to win competition, right? So we have to learn how they think, how they build arguments. And we had a really interesting kind of preparation session at Wharton where they showed us different cultures, how we should interact with each other. So if you look at Anglo-Saxon culture, it's a very straight line, you know, argument, conclusion. So person says, I need this, here are the facts, problem, you know, facts, conclusion. Okay, very clear. French, so they have a dot, then they have argument, then talk about life, talk about wine, talk about history a little bit, but then they build argument, then finish. This is the conclusion. So they said, well, Asia, Arabs, they kind of go in circles. So they build argument like, you know, over a long period of time. And Slavic culture, 2 dots, nothing in between. So like, okay, why do you think we should do that? Well, because I'm your friend, or because I need money, or because, I don't know, you know, it's like, believe me, you know, trust me. So there is no argument, no facts, no nothing. So I think it is very critical to kind of understand how different cultures think, because if we understand that, then we can negotiate and we can not only sell inside Ukraine, but we can go out and kind of beat our competition worldwide.
Thank you very much. And so now it's the time for the audience. Maybe somebody has a question, wants to ask. Here. So Roman Shcherbalko, also Duke.
Yeah. Go Duke.
Go
yeah.
Duke.
So what I wanted to say, first a small remark and then a question. I do understand difference between Ukrainian business and corporate culture or corporate companies, Western companies which are here. For example, I worked at PwC in a legal department for 9 years, and simultaneously I had a business, no conflict of interest. I have a Montessori school. So, and the difference is huge. Corporate business is looking for people to fill in positions. And MBA, maybe it's a good asset to have, and I certainly agree. Business is looking for people who are willing to learn and develop. Now, if we are speaking about our business in Ukraine and doing business in Ukraine, I fully understand what you are saying, because I personally also have had Muskie show trying to get everything, though it's not such a profitable thing, but it's every day you have a problem. And do I need an MBA graduate in my school? No, I don't. Yeah. So, but my question, so it's a fine line between if you want to make a business in Ukraine or you want to make a career in a good Western company, well established, and learn a good salary and be protected. I mean, it's a different things, 2 worlds. And the question would be, do you think, because what I see is that life is changing, and it's changing faster and faster. Artificial intelligence, automation. So in 2 years, when I go back to Ukraine, it will be different. Maybe not country, but world will be different. And in 5 years, I guess there will be so many people out of job that MBA or any other qualification. Well, let me give you a perspective. Few days ago, like a few weeks ago, I read that Sberbank laid off 2,000 lawyers because they now have a program that does the job instead of those 2,000 lawyers. And it's going to be growing, and automatic self-driving cars and everything. So competition in market will be huge. And even middle management, already there are ideas how to substitute middle management. Yeah, that's it. That's my question. What do you think what will happen in 2 years when I go back from Duke?
Life is tough. And it's gonna be tougher. And yes, artificial intelligence is here, machine learning is here, yeah, and it will be unsafe to drive our cars by ourselves in 3-5 years. So all drivers gonna be, out of the road. So that's why I think that the main character of the human is courage, to take the risk, to learn fast, and to act, and not to wait from somebody, not to apply for not to apply for something and to prove your employee that you have some knowledge. You have to act proactively. You have to build. There are a lot of opportunities which AI gives you and machine learning gives you. So that's why if you are in a waiting position, that's the passive position. If you are in an active position, you are managing your will. So when you ask what is going to be in 2 years, no one knows. Yeah, but for sure it's going to be jungle and nothing will change. That's for sure. So take the active position. That's my thing.
Yeah, I think also what I'd like to add that the flexibility today is one of the most valuable, I think, factors in business success and as well as in personal. So, but in 2 years, I think you can freely join our company because we will still be far, far away from the Western market. Yeah, we just now starting analyzing data and so on. So I don't know, it really depends, I think, from the sphere of business and what you're doing. Because, for example, for production of socks, tights, chaziri, it's, I don't know, I can't even imagine now how it will be in the future, because even looking in, for example, in Italian companies, some of them are super advanced. They have super great arranged processes, but lots of them are still working manually. Lots of things are not done, and it's in Italy, it's Calcedonia and other great companies. So I think there will be still things to do, and that lots of jobs will just be changing for some other.
If may I add one sentence, I think you will have in 2 years, you will have a beautiful opportunity to test your idea and to test your business model. And you will have, a luxury opportunity to fail and not to die. Because when you will come here in the real world, fail means, bankruptcy of your company. But, when you play in a healthy culture, healthy American, well-funded culture, you have a lot of attempts, different attempts, and even, encouragement to fail. Ukrainian life is a little bit different. So, the second thing, I think you have to act from the very beginning, from the day one, and start something. You have a lot of opportunities, and you will see how you can earn, $2 profit, and how does the business is doing.
Thank you. Anyone else to add?
Yes.
Thank you.
2019, everything is digitalized. Cashless economy. Cashless environment means whatever. I would say this will be more than growth. I would expect boost of economy in 2019. Fast growing middle class. So-called de-oligarchization of the economy will be finalized, and the story will be in the past. Will be good. Good means could be named a good conditions for fair competition. Competition inefficiency will prevalue competition for profit, as efficiency will be the rule of the game, and those who are effective will be successful. But comments regarding the picture of the country, the employment, and what jobs will be in demand, the picture will be very different to what we see now. And here I wouldn't like to even comment that issues you raised are right, but that's the effect of efficiency. The question to myself, do I like this picture, which will be painful for many, which we will not change their tools, skills, approach. I would say it doesn't mean what I do, what I think about this. It will happen without my comments, because this technology influence, and I started with digitalization of majority of processes, relations, communities, and others, this happens without what I'm saying. So those who are ready, and many are doing this, will be very successful here.
Thank you very much. So thanks first for the prospects and the bright future, and
That's the optimistic
Yeah.
And that's the pessimistic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I want to add.
Yeah.
So maybe in 1 year they will fix, the law enforcement, so there will be no more muskie show. And then Andrei decides to retire, and then he says, "I want to fish, and boat and things, and I want to hire myself like a good management teams that builds processes, and this thing works without me like a machine." And like even after my children will be old, this will still have my name and stuff. So that's what happens, in many countries with startups. They mature, then they need people who can do, structured and process-driven things. Who? The people? Or,
No, the business.
Okay. Well, some of them survive for a couple hundred years. So anyway, and Ukraine, I think it's a better place because we'll be building roads for maybe 20 years. Even if everything is automated, there still need to be CEOs of road construction companies and CFOs of those companies and all these operations people and everything. So.
But this navigation application Waze, this application knows the holes in the road.
Okay, so we'll not be building roads. So the machine
The managing.
Do we have time for one more question from a few? Yeah, okay. Please.
I know most of you in general, but I'm getting to know. So we have on one side more the corporate world, is what I call it. We got the other side, even though you're a couple of thousand, I call it more the startup world, is what it is in general. Being from Canada in general, in North America, where we have a very stable economy, but where failure is kind of propelled in a way. It's okay, like fail harder is what we use. So fail forward is what I learned. How do you see it being the corporate side where you want stability here, specifically in a very unstable economy versus being in a very unstable economy? How is failure viewed in your companies versus for you guys? How do you guys see it? Or how do you foster it in order that it doesn't disrupt your business or make it go faster? Does that make any sense?
Anyone?
Because it's very important in this kind of market, specifically in such an unstable market. Failure has got to be fostered and it's got to be encouraged in my view, but at the same time, the instability of the market makes people want to be more careful.
If I may, to tell you the answer of Jeff Bezos, and he hold you saw that, yeah. So it was a great question from his employees about that. Jeff Bezos is always saying it's just day one. It's just day one. It's just the beginning. Amazon is just start. We are undervalued. Amazon is half $1 trillion company, and he keeps saying he's undervalued, and it's just the beginning. And his employees ask him, Jeff, when it's going to be day two? And he answered that the day two will be when this company will refuse to take the risk, and when this company will punish the guys who is taking the risk and not making innovation and experimentation. So I guess in the world we are living now, these kind of things, experimentation and innovation is very close connected to the risk. And the culture we are trying to build here in Ukraine, when we encourage to take the risk and not to make punishment for the fails. And we need to learn from this guy, from Amazon. This is everything we have now from the management perspective. This guy told us 20 years ago, and so for sure he knows something. And so my answer is the taking the risk is the mandatory part of progress and of innovation, and we need to develop this culture in Ukraine. It is the big problem now, because everybody is afraid to lose and refuse to lose, but we need to change it. That's a big challenge for us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for bringing the name of Jeff Bezos, the owner of the company which hires probably the biggest number of MBAs in the US. So, Volodymyr? Yeah.
I have two comments to respond to your question, if I understood clearly what you raised, but I guess. One is what to expect from stability, and probably there are different expectations from big corporates. Could I say this, and market which is not named like this. So I would say, what we have now, it's a very small economy very small scope of numbers that are not attractive for all stakeholders. We believe everything is temporary. So we need much more investments, much more companies, much more actors in the market in majority of industries. Probably few are already occupied, but not finally. So that's a big demand. We'll take a look on FDI, how much they come, mostly on demand for banks to increase capital, and we will count few only for big country. So the scope of our economy requires stability to attract big investments by numbers, not only by volumes. And this is what we believe in. So if I pray or vote or contribute to stabilize the economy, that's to create opportunity for fast growth by volumes and by numbers. Without stability, there is no opportunity to attract investors, as FDI, even as locally as well. With all risk taken, I presented earlier, that's not happened. So people prefer deposits instead of making their own business on mass scale, right? Mm-hmm. Another issue which joking, I was thinking to sit, will we fight or not on the panel, and now I will probably provoke this, right? Because life is not black and white, right? But some companies pay taxes and are proud of this, and some companies avoid to pay taxes, or better say, not pay taxes and proud of this. And let's sit together and agree what is our mutual future with the destroyed roads and empty hospitals of medicine, and the war was named, and individually everybody helps the war, right? Helps to support our army, but institutionally, and I disagree with such, let me say, common vision. That's not a common vision. That's a split vision. And country by strategy should define we build what compositions. It's not about technology. It's not about IT only. It's about confidence and trust in future for our children, kids, what we build. We invest in hospitals, really, or we criticize corruption. But that's different. That's my guess. So, not guess, myself. That's more than, so I don't say that big corporates pay taxes. I didn't say this. But I say this topic should be answered. And should be commented by institutionally, by segments, by groups, what we are doing, by associations. We're really proud that we don't pay taxes because stupid taxmen, they are corrupted, and that means yes. But finally, if they will stop corruption, next month they will start to pay taxes. This is the story. I'm not taxman, but I want to respond to your question on what we need, stability, because stability can be proved only with responsibility and transparency and contribution and social responsibility. Smaller, bigger, different. It doesn't work otherwise. I wouldn't idealize Western world. I don't say this, but I say about our country, right? So stability we need even to be committed what we said on Maidan in 2014. That's everything about this. So stability, this is what we need in all understanding of these words. There's not only forex rate or inflation rate, and that's now unstable. No, stability is a rule of law. It's a culture of business that business is responsible individually and institutionally. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I wanted to add that in corporate world, even with stability and everything else, failure is possible, and actually it's encouraged. But the key word here is trust. So that's what you learn in corporate world, that trust is critical, it's fundamental. If somebody fails, but without hiding information, without bad intention, that's actually good. That means that the person learns. But if the person hides information, swipes it under the carpet, does not inform or misrepresents or whatever else, then game is over. Because if there is no trust, then bureaucracy starts. Right? So as CEO of a company, you know that somebody brings you a paper. If you trust the person, you sign it. You sign it immediately, right? If you don't trust the person, then you say, oh, did lawyer sign it? Did accountant sign it? Did this sign it? Did you approve this and that? So that's opposite of trust is bureaucracy. So in the corporate world, to avoid bureaucracy, you have to maintain trust. So mistakes, yes. Failures, yes. But with good intentions and without hiding information. So that's what corporate world is about.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we don't have time for We do? One more question? So do we, or, yeah. One more, yeah, on the back.
Thank you. Michael Dotsenko, U.S. Ukraine Business Council. While in general we support privatization of state enterprises of 3,000 plus, we understand that in a couple of years, when the kids come back here to Ukraine, there still will be probably at least 1,000 state enterprises, big and small. So to the panelists, to all of you, the question: what would you recommend to the recipients of the award to think about coming back to Ukraine and thinking about working for a big corporate entity that's owned by the state, or perhaps for a regulator like the National Bank of Ukraine? And if you do recommend to think about that as a career option, what would you have them focus on, so that then when they do come back, they're as efficient as possible, they're making their employer run as efficiently as possible, thus saving taxpayers' money, and so on and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess there are a number of responses on this. I will talk about banking industry, which for me much more clear and familiar, and there are many other industries which I will not touch now. I would recommend, and as I partly said at the beginning, examples with the state-owned banks, which are a subject of further privatization, attracting IFIs, EBRD, IFC, some others are named. That's a historical project. The biggest financial organization with the generations of people who created, with the centuries of trust, with the many important people in Ukraine and around, expectations, just not to lose billions of money, but to save money and to present a good competitive institution and to be one within 10 people who did this. This is a story that will work as a perfect track record for all life. I have this experience in early 90s in the Savings Bank of Ukraine. It still works for me, because in my mind I have wings much wider than a corridor, because the scale is unlimited and you are requested to contribute, and your name is named. It's not within thousands of people. So those who are here, you have a chance to fix your name in the biggest project, which not the case with a private company, because private companies are first, I would say, already defined who are they. The organizational transformation is not exactly the case, and scope of them is limited. Even big international companies, so there can't be such a project, radical transformation with any of international banks, because that's a study. I told already. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that Volodymyr is contributing to the development of state-owned enterprise, if you can say. He's a member of the board of trustees of Kyiv Mahila Academy. So yes, so just to add to that. Andrei?
You know my answer. I will not, because I think it's much better to define your future by yourself than to be dependent on somebody's opinion, on your skills. So I think, with the level of skills you'll get in 2 years, you'll be able to do everything in this world, and, the task to manage, old Soviet state factory, I don't think it should sound sexy to you in 2 years.
Yeah,
I agree.
Too late.
No, I think it depends. I think it depends on in the institution and your personal maturity. If I remember myself, like right after the graduating from Wharton, if I went to work for a state company, I would die of depression probably. But now I'm ready. I think I'm.
Thank you for.
No, I mean you just have to have mental maturity. You have to, kind of season. And then you go, okay, But my psychology was fragile at that time, so I wouldn't do that at that time.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that in Ukrhazvidobывание in one room, like smaller than this, like 5 times, we have like 3 MBAs sitting, one from Wharton, Duke, and from Said, and I think.
But not right after school. They spent some time working for other companies, and then they got ready to do that.
No, right after.
Right after school. Okay.
Sergei Boyev, your Wharton Fellow as well.
Okay, so writer school, good.
Yeah.
I'd like to add that one thing is also for what Ukraine is really great is that if you know, not even big, but a little bit, and you can do it, and you apply it here, it works perfectly. Like you see the, I don't know, you see the results, you see like everything. That's what we are doing now, like when we are experimenting and so on. I know that if I do it in Vienna, like the world and the market is quite competitive, and it's like harder to make something like like this there. So in Ukraine, it works, and it works better.
My wings could be squeezed here, right? 1997, I was a deputy chairman of the savings bank. 60,000 employees, 98% women. So you could imagine how I was successful in a center of such retention, right? So, and support, technical assistance from German government, German Sparkassen, from European Committee, from British Know-how Fund. So savings bank is the biggest by size, by many, many other ratios. And by not accident, but by some reasons, I left it quite fast. It's another story why. And I was invited by a number of banks, and I joined private-owned Ukrainian bank with the cash in the envelope, and activities and brave investors and la 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 la. And I was sitting in the office, and there was a small window, very small window. And there was a brave guys, but there was a letter of credit, one, on the table. And there is a need to sort out it. And I could. But a week ago, I have a project with the German government to implement support for small and medium enterprise all over the country. All over the country, in Zhytomyr, in Skadovsk, in Kherson, in Kyiv, program for a year and a half, and you lead the program to build a middle class, to contribute to building a middle class. And now I changed. I have more money, and I have a letter of credit on the desk. And I was dropped for 6 months. I can't speak to myself what I did. And I mean, I don't say that private means, but I say if someone speaks about state-owned, strategic organizations, the topic, the agenda, the horizon of talks and people you communicate is specific. I don't say better or worse, but it's very specific to underestimate. There's another spirit of agenda. This was not only envelope, means bright people around. They did a good job. But it's so different that I can say that I lost or win, but that's so different to say that only pros and cons we could. It's impossible to calculate. Everybody defines. Thank you.
Thank you. So the organizers got so excited that they allowed us one more question.
Good day, Maria. We talked about skills, knowledge, mindset, network, and so on that that MBAs are going to acquire during MBA. My question is, can you name just 2 of all this stuff that you really, in practice, helped you in your career and your business? Thank you.
Metro.
Can you name again? What did you which ones?
Everything, skills,
Oh,
knowledge,
skills.
network, mindset, so everything that you have gained from MBA, which 2 of them really helped you in your career?
That's the $1 billion question. That's a $1 billion question, yes. I think the main thing that I got after Wharton was my job in the U.S. So, I mean, I agree here with Andrei that you can learn via online courses. You know, you can go on free, resources and you learn things. So I think getting your first job after MBA is what is really, really important. And that's what actually you're doing. You're looking for an employment. You're going to employment fairs. You're learning how to do interviews. And I think what is critical is to network and learn from your peers. So I think I learned a lot. People explained to me how to do consulting interviews, how to get a job in the U.S. So I think I didn't get as much in terms of like financial knowledge or some other knowledge. I knew all these things. I read books before. So I think what I got is kind of maybe stamp of approval of some sort, and my first job. I think that was most critical piece.
For me, it is for sure network and the connections. Even though you have LinkedIn today and you can like connect to lots of people, but when you study with them, when you have some cases, when you live with them and so on, it's like the other thing, like the trust and so on. And the same with lecturers and people, even not from my like course, but from the university. Even now, when I have a problem, I can contact with them and try to solve the problem and to hear some feedback from the people I really know could help. So as for me, this is the main thing, that I'm really happy to have now.
And Andrei also holds an MBA, so he can also speak about it.
You know, when I was attended from one of the sales trainings, I've asked the teacher and the coach, how should I sell more? And you know, the answer was, always look in the left eye of the customer. and you know, I took it seriously, and you know, the coach said, you will make the deal. You know, that's the joke. You will never build another Facebook. You will never build, you know, Apple. Your journey and your way will be totally different from others. And there is no simple answer, and there is no silver bullet in this stuff. You have to train, and you have to be trained, and you have to be ready for a lot of different things. And you shouldn't focus, you know, after the answer on networking, and you should know everybody in San Francisco. You know, that's not the correct way to make a result. There is no correct, I believe that there is no correct, you know, simple answer to your question. You should be trained for every different scenarios. And that's the best strategy I think you should have.
Yeah, so great panel. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, and Volodymyr.
Because I waited to be last because I have a secret tool. And the secret tool is love. Be in love with your dream, and you will face hundreds of supporters. It's obvious if someone has a dream and is confident with it. And MBA could help to be seen like this, a person, to structure your dream, and you will have supports always. And have these dreams unlimited, because regular dreams are not supported. You will never face support if you have a regular or average target, because average should be done anyway, and it's fail. And if you have fantastic dream on the edge of realistic, but you are in love with it, you will realize it, because everybody will want to help you. Thank you.
Thank you. Great words to end the panel. I wanted to ask you first. Wanted to thank you for the words of wisdom. It was a great panel. It was a pleasure. Been a pleasure to moderate it. Now I wanted to ask you to stay for a group photo. Right? That's what we're doing right now.